18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23।
आप पर एक इल्जाम है कि आपने ढेर सारे कश्मीरी पंडितों की जान ली है।
जी।
कितने लोगों को मारा होगा आपने?
20, 25।
अगर वो आपसे कहते कि अपने सगे भाई को मार दो तो
मार देते।
और आपसे आपकी माँ को मारने के लिए कहते तो मार देते?
मार देते।
What can I say? I am really shocked and stunned after seeing the atrocities the people of Kashmir suffered in the hand of extremists. So this picture is a must for everyone. They should see, and this is a sad indictment of the leadership where they do not teach people to coexist and live in harmony. And I hope you will all watch this film, and I'm really shocked, and I still can't get over what I've seen. So on that day, Jai Hind.
उसके सामने हम अपनी माजी की कोई बात नहीं करेंगे।
मतलब no mention of Exodus.
No, Exodus नहीं, genocide.
देखो कौन है, कृष्णा।
And the reality is, of course, we still have a divided state with an illegal occupation by Pakistan of much of the state, with an oppressed people who want to be free and return to what was originally envisaged in 1947, which is a secular state within India. And the reality is that we've got the longest line of control anywhere in the world, soldiers on both sides having to patrol, and we have terrorist bases set up on the Pakistani side. The solution to this has always been very simple. That is that the Pakistanis should cease to occupy the part of the valley that they occupy. The line of control should be dismantled, and all the terrorist bases should be dismantled as well. Then we can restore peace and security to the valley to the benefit of all the people. Equally, the Kashmiri Pandits who are forced to leave with the cries of, at the point of a gun, with the cries of leave, die or convert. And the reality is that what we have to do is call out to the world that this was ethnic cleansing and a genocide. So one of the things that I've been very keen on since that happened, it's not new, I was taking this cause up 30 years ago. What we have to do is get the world to recognise this as reality and then make this go away by actually having a sensible conversation about how we have a peaceful valley which will be to the benefit of Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, Jews and of course our Buddhist friends as well.
कश्मीर चल रहा है, खुलेआम कश्मीरी हिंदुओं का कत्ले आम हो रहा है।
पंडितों को किसी ने नहीं भगाया, वो खुद भागे, गवर्नर से मिल गए।
जहाँ शिव, सरस्वती, ऋषि कश्यप हुए, वो कश्मीर हमारा था। जहाँ पंचतंत्र लिखा गया, वो कश्मीर हमारा था। तू जानता ही क्या है कश्मीर के बारे में?
It's very heart-rending, very emotional. I felt pain, cried. What else can I say? I hope every Hindu, every Indian in India sees this film and realize what has happened to our community. I can't describe. It's really very, very painful. Very painful. I couldn't stop my tears. So,
absolutely. No, it was a very well done film, and very well. There was a continuity and everything. I loved it. I was very sad because I have not been that time there, but I felt very, very sad.
बहुत अच्छी लगी हमें। बिल्कुल एक्चुअल जो फैक्ट्स हुए हैं वहाँ उस पर उन्होंने हमें ये पिक्चर दिखाई और हमें पुरानी पिक्चर सारी सामने आई जो उन्होंने किया है। हम काम करते थे वहाँ ऑफिस में हमें लेते थे, वहाँ जमात इस्लामी पहले आया, उन्होंने वहाँ किया, फिर हमें निकालना शुरू कर दिया कि ये पाकिस्तान का हिस्सा बनेगा। मेरे साथ ऐसा हुआ है। उन्होंने मुझे बोला कि अगर पाकिस्तान बनेगा वेयर विल बी, मैंने कहा अभी तो हिंदुस्तान का झंडा है, वी आर इंडिया। फिर दूसरी बार और तीसरी बार तो हमें भगा ही दिया। ये तो इसमें कश्मीर गवर्नमेंट की साजिश थी, शेख मोहम्मद अब्दुल्ला की साजिश थी जिसने हमें वहाँ से निकाला। ये हम
lot of credit goes to the filmmakers. Really किसी और ने ऐसा कभी किया नहीं।
अभी तक किसी ने हिम्मत नहीं की इतना सब करने की।
Reality दिखाने के लिए, and our hats off to Agnihotri ji and his Pallavi Joshi ji and whole of his team.
Actually.
It's brilliant. I will start crying in a minute.
बहुत अच्छी कोशिश है, बहुत अच्छी कोशिश है। पहली दफ़ा सच को दिखाया गया है, सच को प्रोजेक्ट करने की कोशिश की गई है।
Hi, we watched the Kashmir Files just now. One of the most gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching films I've ever seen. It must be seen we all need to know what has happened in the recent past, which should not be happening again. Please do watch this movie in your nearest theatres. Support and support real filmmakers, and also get to know your history so that your present is better and your future doesn't repeat the errors of the history as well. So please do watch Kashmir Files. It's a brilliant movie. It's made of a lot of effort, a lot of courage. It takes courage to watch it as well. So please do watch it. Thank you.
कश्मीर के मसले का एक ही हल, अल जिहाद। एक ही आवाज बुलंद होगी, बच्चा बच्चा कहेगा आजादी। दहशतवाद से आजादी, 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 आजादी।
Kashmir Files is the most authentic representation of the plight of Kashmiri Pandits. We are so thankful to the director for capturing the trauma, the terrorist attacks that happened in the valley, and he's done the most fabulous job. I don't think anyone else could have captured the pain, the misery of Kashmiri Pandits over the last 30 years and shown it so perfectly well, exactly spot on, and we are so grateful to him for spreading this message. If you've seen Anne Frank Diary, if you've seen Chandler's List, this is the story of Kashmiri Pandit Holocaust, and we want the whole of the world to know about it, to feel our pain and spread the message. Thank you, Dr. Agnihotri, and thank you, Pallavi, as well, and the entire team.
I just want to thank our director, Vivek Ranjan Agnihotri, and Pallavi ji. It was a wonderful movie. It's like we just relived those times, that fear, that trauma. Totally speechless, totally speechless. I just want everyone in the world to watch this movie to know what had happened with our community.
So I watched this Kashmir Files today. It's like I was watching my history, my past. I remember like I was 5.5 years old when we left in the middle of the night from our village, and then we landed in a small one-room set where we were living. Our entire family was living for 10 years. I have visited my relatives who were living in the refugee camp of Purku, which was actually shown in the movie. I have seen my maternal grandmother dying of heat stroke, which was mentioned in this movie. The people who were hanged and were shown in this movie, they lived not very far from my ancestral place, from where we were moved as refugees. So I can actually relate to a lot of incidents in this movie, what was depicted. It actually hurts me. It's like putting a dagger in my heart again, and the dagger has not been removed for past 30 years, ever since we were forced to leave our Kashmir. I'm thankful to Vivek Agnihotri, Pallavi Joshi for this initiative. I'm thankful to all the people who are watching these movies to spread the word of this genocide that has been forced upon us, that has been unleashed upon us 32 years ago.
I think the movie should be actually going for Oscars. It's in class with the movie like Schindler's List, which spoke about the Jewish Holocaust, you know. So it's on those lines. The performances have been very powerful. It is so powerful that it has actually made me feel ashamed as an Indian. मैं शर्मिंदा हूँ towards my Indian Kashmiri brothers and sisters, the Kashmiri Pandit, the Hindu brothers and sisters, that nobody from the mainstream India, like, you know, from Bombay, Delhi, nobody raised voice for you. I'm quite amazed that why I could not even say anything. We don't remember anything. We were in college during those days. There was no media hype. There was no UN cry. There was no Swara Bhaskar tweeting then, and there was nothing, and we were not aware of this. And for the reason that we were not aware and we didn't say anything, we were quiet. I'm very, very, very ashamed, and that is the power of this movie, that it is actually without any huge Bollywood names or support has reached here in London, and I hope that it goes further. It goes and, you know, stands with things like Schindler's List.
if there is a genocide, this is it. A small, minuscule of population, ethnic population with the culture, with the language, with the heritage, that has been wiped away forcibly from their home, and they can't protect their culture, their identity, their place. They have nowhere to go. They have nothing that they can call as their home. It is not only about the people who have been killed, but it is the annihilation of a community, of a civilization, very ancient civilization.
I don't know what to say, to be honest. Today it'll be 32 years and 10 days exactly since I left home. And I haven't been back. There is no chance that I will be back the way things stand. I've been talking about it, but like most of us, I haven't been able to say what exactly happened because the trauma runs really, really deep. So I think with this film, what I really hope is that people will come to know what really happened. They'll feel just 1% of the terror that we felt. They'll actually understand what happened in Kashmir. And once they happened, what happened in Kashmir, once they understand, we'll finally have some justice, because to this date, none of those people that you've seen on the screen, they haven't been captured, nothing's happened. We aren't able to go back to our home. Some of us have no homes left because they've been burnt or occupied. I want to go home. My children are here today. I want them to have a home to go back to, but where is home?
We've got a very, I think she's the youngest member here, Aishwarya. And Aishwarya, you are crying. What did you think of the movie? You've been born and brought up in United Kingdom, and you've never been back home. So what are your views?
Well, just seeing all the things happen and not being told, it just really makes it realistic. Puts you in, just makes it feel much more real. Like it actually, it was horrific. It's, I don't really know what to say.
I would like to applaud Vivek and Pallavi for bringing out the absolute truth. This is exactly what happened, unfortunately, what happened in Kashmir with Kashmiri Hindus. And Satyamev Jayate is all I can say. And I've actually witnessed it firsthand myself, what happened. So I would like to applaud the wonderful impact and effect of showing the truth and the reality by Vivek ji, Pallavi ji and the entire team.
मुझ पर फटा था, तुम पर नहीं। पद्मश्री मुझे ऐसे ही नहीं मिला ना।
पद्मश्री आपको सरकार ने खामोश रहने के लिए दिया।
Azadi is a song of terrorism.
It's an anthem of free Kashmir, exactly like Jan Gan Man of India.
जब मासूम लड़कों को गाड़ी से बांध कर घसीटा जाएगा और उन पर रेप चार्जेस लगाए जाएंगे, तो ये सताए हुए लोग गन्जे उठाएंगे सर।
कश्मीरी पंडितों ने तो कभी कोई बंदूक नहीं उठाई।
Putting words together after an experience like that is difficult, but I would like to say that what Vivek ji has created is more than just a movie. It's a mirror, and it gives us the opportunity to look into it and think about who we are and how we responded to what happened. I'm hoping that the government officials, and especially the Bharatiya Supreme Court justices, watch this film, and then, like a mirror, hopefully it will reveal to them something that they need to address. It's going to be a mirror that's going to cause a great deal of discomfort amongst politicians, amongst administrators. Here in the United Kingdom, I think we now have everything we need to demand from the British government that they recognise that what happened was a genocide. We need the United Kingdom to accept its responsibility for what happened and started in 1947, which led and culminated to these sorts of atrocities. And so we will be lobbying and petitioning the British government, and hopefully something positive can come out of this. I would see it to be a positive step forward for the United Kingdom to declare this as a genocide, which is what it is. And I salute the courage, the fortitude and the discipline of the Kashmiri Pandit community. And I would just like to also say the most amazing thing is that you maintained dignity, honor, everything that was civilized and pure and worthwhile in Kashmir. You have preserved it within the community that you are. They may have the land, but the true wealth of what was there in Kashmir, you have preserved it. And in not becoming barbarians, I think that's the biggest testament to the ancestry and the heritage that you carry with you. So Jai Shri Ram, and I look forward to supporting you at every opportunity.
So the only thing I can say to anyone is get this film publicized to as many people as you can. I was rather hoping the enemies of this film would do a protest that would at least make it newsworthy, and maybe the BBC or Sky would pick it up, but they're very clever, they're keeping quiet. So as long as the Hindus are seen as the enemies of Islam, this is going to carry on and on and on. But I salute the director, the first director with guts. After how many decades of Indian films who's made a film like this? That shows his courage, but unfortunately it shows the cowardice of a lot of our filmmakers.
This is our lived history. This is something that we have gone through and we have lived, and unfortunately it has remained unuttered or unknown by so many of even our own friends for 32 years. And I, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank Vivek Agnihotri ji and Pallavi Joshi ji. They have traveled the length and breadth of India. They've traveled all across the globe, taking real testimonies from the first-hand victims of this ethnic cleansing and genocide. And when he came here to London, he said to us, "I will not let you down." And I want to say to him, Vivek ji and Pallavi ji, you have kept your promise. You have not let us down.
First of all, I'm very shaky because we went through the movie is not a movie, it's a real life we've lived through, what we went through, and the post-traumatic stress disorder which most of us have been suffering since. It's not just the killing, the torture, the gruesome sort of scenes, and also what our parents or grandparents have gone through. Like in this movie, they've characterized each and every person in our community, from our old generation, what they've gone through. The snake bites, the scorpion bites, the heat, and worst of all is the propaganda, the fake news that we are not the victims, we are the people who have done something wrong, and so shaming the victim. That's the most hard bit, because if somebody tells me that I left my home just out of because I needed a better job or something, it's all wrong. It was a genocide. It was ethnic cleansing. There's no doubt about it. And thank you so much, Vivek Agnihotri ji and Pallavi Joshi. They've done such a marvelous job but this is only the 1% they've shown. Rest has to be shown and told in future. I hope they do something about it and give some more voice to all of us who have been voiceless for the last 32 years.
This movie was like a snapshot of all the stories that I've heard from my parents, my grandparents, my uncle, aunt. It's like a quick snapshot of everything that has happened. And I think generally it is said that acknowledgement is one of the first step towards justice, and I think this is that first step for us.
I don't have enough words to thank especially Vivek ji and Pallavi ji for making this movie, for telling this truth on celluloid. As Shafalika ji said, I'm a Dogra from Jammu and Kashmir, and Jammu was the first place where the Kashmiri Pandits came, and we've seen it. I've got memories of my grandfather, my Nana ji, going to Gita Bhavan and Ved Mandir where these families were sheltered, and he would be so affected by the trauma of these families. I remember him coming home and not wanting to eat food. So we have seen that, and we have also seen a lot of massacres in the Jammu region. Those stories stories we've not even begun to tell. So this is a wonderful start, and I use the word wonderful because no one has dared to tell the truth and plainly tell the truth. They have not whitewashed it. Vivek ji has made, there's no whataboutery. It's just plain facts, and it's very important, not only because we want justice for Kashmiri Pandits, we want the minorities of Jammu and Kashmir who are Hindus actually. We want the minorities in Jammu and Kashmir, the Hindus, to be safe, but we also want others to learn from what has happened and not make this mistake again, to learn from it and make sure that another genocide does not happen. So we are all in this fight together, everybody in J&K and all the Hindus in J&K and everybody across the country, and I think it's receiving phenomenal feedback. So I hope that the Kashmiri Pandits get justice.
I didn't know about whatever had happened to us until I was 27. It was at a community picnic that I've heard for the first time what had happened. And I looked at my husband and I said, what are they talking about? They said they're talking about us. That day and today, then I've been campaigning, fighting for rights and everything. It's not until today that it's actually really sunk in what had happened. And I'm feeling anger, I'm feeling sadness, I'm feeling happiness that finally somebody's had the courage to say it the way it was. There's so much more to be said. It leaves you wanting to know more. Now what? Yes, the Article 370 was removed, but then have they changed? Have they not changed? Do I know what my address was? Can I go and live there now? No, you can't. I can't. I will never be able to go back. That will only happen if these people are going to be punished. Bitta Karate, whose story whose portrayal they've shown, is still roaming free. All of these people are still free. They have not been punished. There is no genocide crime punishment law in India. There's nothing to punish these people. Movies like this, I hope more and more people will have the courage to talk about different stories, but ultimately I don't want to just remain a story. I want things to change. So I really hope this is the beginning of actual real change on ground.
I had heard stories till now from my grandparents in very similar situation as shown in the film, but to see it visually, I can still hear the screams of those characters coming out of the cinema, and I don't think I can just imbibe what happened and go to my day as normal, because I feel upset, but more importantly, I also feel rage that we let this happen in this day and age. That this is not just the darkest time in India, but it's the darkest time in humanity in general. That we not only suppress the reality, but we decided not to listen to the victims. And I also feel robbed for my culture and my heritage, which I should take pride of.
I think the film definitely reminded us how we have been separated from a culture which is ours by no fault of our own. And watching kind of people who've essentially raised you, given you kind of your values and everything, crying during the film because they have been transported to the worst point of their lives is something else. And you can hear as many stories as you want, but seeing it actually happen is something else. And I think the movie was so amazingly crafted because actual dialogues, were picked up from actual stuff that has been said, actual processions that happened, and we as individuals could pick up, oh, this story belonged to this person, this story belonged to, this. So what seems like a story for most is a reality that we can give a name and a face to. So yeah, hats off.
Our parents have gone through all of this, and they have reflected their stories, but they always tell us about all the best aspects. They tell us about their childhood, about how they used to run around in Kashmir and live a free life, but what they haven't told us is what we just watched today, because the reality is much harsher than what they can tell us. And I think many of us, we haven't even seen Kashmir in the first place. Like we might not have even visited there or been once or twice, and this is a massive part of our life that we've really missed out on and may or may not never get back.
The movie had me, I had goosebumps during the movie, and the first 10 minutes in, I was already crying and I was already trying to hold on to absolutely anything around me. but I was wondering internally, do I have the right to cry? I mean, I've never been to Kashmir, I've never seen this, but I am Kashmiri, and I feel like, is this my pain? This is my story to tell, but is it really? And there was this one part of the movie that really touched my heart. It was when Anupam Kher broke down, shivering, saying, "Mujhe tar laga," and at that stage I was like, yes, I'm cold. I am feeling this cold here, and is this my cold to feel? So it really threw us in that tumult of emotions, and I think hats off. It was a really great movie and everyone should watch it.